Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Graveyard Guys podcast. It's me, your favorite host, Mikey, and the other one, Wes.
Wes, the other one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jinx. We are back. We know we took a break last week. Sorry about that. I was in Cleveland, and as much as I wanted to do something fun for Cleveland and do like a Cleveland episode or like interview one of my friends from Cleveland about spooky stuff that happened in Cleveland, I was just a busy beaver and I didn't have time. I was in Cleveland, it's horror related, for my friend's slasher gay film premiere called Meet the Movie. So if you like horror films, if you like slasher films, if you like dirty films, check out Meet the Movie on Instagram. It's not out yet, but it'll be out soon, and it's great. I loved it. I got to meet a bunch of really cool people. I got to meet a bunch of like Instagram horror influencers, and it was just a really fun time. So sorry we were gone last week, but we're back.
Back and better than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buddy.
Sure. Also, sorry last episode the audio was broken, but
Her fault, not mine.
Anyways, we're back, and we have the letter of the day, which is G.
G. I was like, huh? G for graveyard guys.
Do you always have to start from A to get to where we are, or is that just me?
I definitely have that issue.
Because I'm always like A, B, C, D.
I have like such a bad
G.
memory. I was like, we haven't done I yet, but
Well, I comes later.
I comes later. I comes later. I was like, never mind. Let's keep going.
Silly Wes. So today, G is going to be brought to you by Wesley for Texas. But first, Wesley has a very interesting news story to go over for you guys.
All right. Deep sea oarfish have surfaced 4 times since May across India, Australia, and New Zealand and California. So these are little like deep sea fishies. They're not little at all.
Like,
they're
not
big
little.
boys. It's like me. They're big boys, and the reason why it's such like a big deal that they're being seen is because they live in like the deep. Are you on?
No, I'm taking a picture of us for social media.
They live in the deep sea, and so when they come up to the surface, then it's because something down there has disturbed them. So that could be like that could be like a like an earthquake, but some people think that there's something else, like a kraken or some shit.
What's the big shark called? Not the Matamoros.
Megalosaurus.
Megalodon.
Megalodon.
I'd like to meet that monster, right? Anyways, today you will be discussing G as in Galveston.
The city I'm doing? Oh, okay. I hold on. Let me pull it up. Garland, Texas.
Garland, Texas.
Shout out to Garland, Texas. I went to elementary school in Garland, Texas.
It's not just a Christmas wreath. It's a city in Texas. Garland.
Can you shut up?
Judy Garland.
But yeah, my grandmother lives there actually. Shout out Mimi. Let's go, Mimi.
Yeah.
That's my bitch. Oh my god. That's my grandmother. I wrote on here, sorry, my notes, I didn't do this. Episode G is for gay.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
When we also had F
For fabulous.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go. Okay. So I'll give you like the brief overlay of this story. It's going to start off weird, crazy. The ending is a little stick around. It's a little like...
I don't have anywhere else to be.
It's anticlimactic. I'll just give you that warning. So like when we actually get there, you're going to be like, well, that's it? It ends like, well, that's it. So...
That's okay. I mean, it's reality. Sometimes you don't have the money.
Sometimes reality is... Especially since... Let's just get into it.
Okay.
So today, my Texas city is a small suburb outside of Dallas called Garland, motherfucking Texas. Yeah, I don't know. I literally wrote that in Garland. I wrote Garland, motherfucking Texas, y'all. Garland.
Mm-hmm.
So This is about a UFO cult that started in Taiwan by this sociology professor. He was like an atheist throughout most of his life, but then he had a dream that two glowing balls showed up in his dream, and it was the spirit of Jesus and Buddha, and that they told him, "Hey, Diva, you need to start
A church.
basically they're telling him like the truths that there are demons in the world that are hidden inside of humans that are constantly bringing down your energy, and they're making it to where you're not able to ascend to a higher level of existence."
They're called children.
Period. Yeah. So this is the Chen Tao cult, also known as the True Way cult or God's Salvation Church. The leader of this cult is from Taiwan. His name is Hon-Ming Chen, and he was a scholar. Hold on, I'm scrolling. And he had this dream in 1992 of the Golly glowing balls, big old glowing balls. Inspirations for this, that's a neighbor of mine. Inspirations for this, it's giving he, she, we, they, them.
I just don't understand what I just saw.
The hairline was all the way back here.
No, there was no hair.
Exactly. Well, no, there was hair. Well,
is it a clip-on?
It could be a clip-on.
Someone walked by with
it could
a
be
bald
like
head and
glued on
a clip-on ponytail attached to the bald head, which was a gray collection of locks.
Pride Month. We love Pride. You know, everyone is accepted here.
Mm-hmm. Anyways.
So the inspirations for this cult are the Buddhist Sutras, the New and Old Testaments, and Tao Te Ching. He was enrolled in classes with a UFO religious group after having this dream, but then he didn't realize how expensive the classes were going to be, and he got really pissed. And so he was like, it's immoral, it's unethical, and it's a sin to be forcing people to spend this much money to be in this religious cult. So he told everyone, I had this dream, and this is a sin, and I'm out. And then a bunch of people followed him. So he created the Soul Light Resurgence Association, and the movement was spreading throughout Taiwan, and they kind of did it to where it was like there are 4 leaders, and they all kind of created their own factions and then spread the word that way, like an MLM, kind of like top down. So here are the beliefs of the cult that he created. Spiritual energy that is similar to Chinese Qigong, I don't know how to pronounce that, which is kind of modified by Western physics and demonology. They believe that the world was dominated by evil spirits, so people who had a low level of frequency, bad vibes. So if they had bad vibes in their lifetime and they don't ascend to the next level of existence, then they're kind of like damned to be demons that try to bring other people down and make them like shitty people.
Gotta protect your energy.
Yeah, exactly. Not allowing you to transcend. Like energy vampires. So they integrated Christian millennialist ideas.
Millennialism.
Millennialism. What is that? Eschatological
And millennialist
ideas.
Focusing on impending
I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but okay.
It's your nose. Did you cite your sources? Apparently you just copied and pasted.
No, I wrote these notes 2 weeks ago when we were supposed to.
What's the role of Bipu?
Bipu? So that's the spiritual energy. The spiritual energy. So it's the energy from God, and everyone has like some of God's energy. And once you go throughout your life, then you're collecting this amount of energy, and then you're reborn, and then you collect more energy until you have enough to transcend to the next level of existence.
So it's like a video game.
Yeah, pretty much. You're going to the next level. So they believe that God comes down in a spacecraft, and during the times of, what was the word? Tribulations. There were 5 tribulations that have already happened, and during those times he comes down on a spacecraft and lifts up all the people at the high energy and puts them in the spacecraft and leaves. Everybody else dies. Cool. So they were also vegetarian, and they believed that animals had the same like spiritual like thing. So they believed that when you died and like went to heaven or hell or something, or next level of existence, every animal you ate is gonna come back and kick your ass. So they believe that the purest land, every single time that there was a tribulation in the last 5 tribulations that happened, it always saved the people from North America, according to this guy. So the people in the U.S. were always saved. So they moved to Texas, to Garland, Texas.
God's country.
Shortly after, the reason why, do you know why? Well, because the way that they say Garland sounds like Godland. Godland. The way that they say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they were in California for a short amount of time. They hated it. They moved to Texas after that. So
they don't want to live in that woke state.
For real. Oh, they went from California to Texas. Wow. Anyways,
couldn't afford it.
They lived in an upper middle class neighborhood in Garland, Texas, and they wore white tracksuits and wore cowboy hats and drove luxury cars.
Are they still there?
We'll see.
Okay.
They constantly recorded themselves. One time he was like, "I'll show you how close I am to God." So he just stared at the sun. And he was like, any normal person would be blind from this. And then he stared at it for like 6 seconds. And then he was immediately like, you get the idea. And then walked away. It's so stupid.
I was hoping he'd actually go blind.
Right?
Like, oops.
They were also trying to find the rebirth of Buddha and Jesus. They said Buddha was reborn as a member of a cult, like the member of their cult. And they're like, oh, yay, he's here. And then he's like, Jesus, we don't know who he is, but he looks like Abraham Lincoln. He lives in Canada. He's like 27 years old, and he's about this tall. He literally had like the whole description, but they couldn't find him. They couldn't find anyone who matched that description at all. So they were like, oh, never mind, I was wrong. He actually is another boy that's in our cult. And then he came up with a prophecy. If you know anything about like cults and stuff like that, there was the Waco cult that's also in Texas. That was 5 years before this.
That's the Kool-Aid, isn't it?
The Waco one was the shootout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Heaven's Gate is similar to the Kool-Aid. That one, you're talking about Jonestown.
Okay.
But Heaven's Gate was another UFO cult where they like did video diaries of themselves right before they did like a mass suicide, and then they like laid these like purple shrouds over themselves, and then the people walked in and saw like a bunch of bodies, and they're like, oh, because they believed that once they died they would transcend. Similar to this, very similar. They're going to be picked up by a UFO. Anyways, so he had this one that says, if you turn on channel 18 on March 31st, then no matter where you are, if your TV's on, if your TV's off, or if you have cable or not, then you're going to be tuned in to this radio broadcast, and it's going to speak whatever language you speak, and Jesus is going to show himself to you. And then
live on channel 18.
Literally on channel 18. And then March 31st comes around and nothing happened. And they said that this was going to be the beginning of the Great Tribulation, which is going to be another disaster that kills everyone. And the police officers and everyone in the neighborhood were nervous because they thought that it was going to be another like mass suicide, like or like a shootout or something similar to like Waco or Heaven's Gate or whatever, or Jonestown. But at the end of the day, this is where the anticlimactic part is. At the end of the day, he was just like, I was wrong. And then the cult is more or less disbanded, and people moved to New York. I think they're mostly in New York now, and there's like 20 members. So there you go.
Great. Well, mine also is rooted into a true crime type experience. Today, I'll be taking you to South Carolina where they have peaches and serial killers. So we're going to Gaffney, South Carolina, a small town with a strangling past and a killer secret. Dun dun dun. Leroy Martin, born April 25th, 1937, known as the Gaffney Strangler, was an American serial killer from Gaffney, South Carolina. He murdered 4 people, 2 women and 2 girls, between 1967 and 1968. February 8th, 1968, Leroy Martin anonymously called Bill Gibbons, he was an editor of the Gaffney Ledger. Martin gave Gibbons directions to locate 2 bodies. He insisted that he was responsible for the murder of Annie Dedmond. Yes, she was. And originally when Annie was murdered, they arrested her husband because they were like, you killed her. He was like, no, I didn't. But back in the 60s, they didn't really have much to prove. So when Leroy called, he was like, by the way, it wasn't her husband. So the husband served 10 months of his prison sentence before they were like, oh, you didn't do it. So they let him go and dropped all the charges. However, Leroy Martin called the editor, told him where to find the 2 bodies. Gibbons reported the information to the police, who then found the bodies of Paris and Reinhardt. 4 days later, Martin contacted Gibbons again, warning that there would be more killings. So how scary is that? So there's 4 people that got murdered, 2 women and 2 girls. He strangled all of them and also did some other stuff that we probably don't want to mention, which is very despicable. On February 13th, 1968, 15-year-old Opal Diane Buxton was abducted and thrown in the trunk of a car while walking to the school bus stop with her sister. Her sister was able to give a description of the vehicle to authorities. Police found Buxton's body in a wooded area several days later. There was indication of struggle and that she'd been strangled and stabbed to death. Martin was arrested on February 27, 1968. The sheriff took evidence from Martin and questioned him. Martin directed them to the location of the bodies. However, in the process, Martin was not given adequate right to counsel, and so authorities did not seek the death penalty. He was convicted of first-degree murder in the deaths of Dedmond, Paris, Reinhardt, and Buxton. He received 4 life terms. After Martin's arrest, Roger Dedmond, who was the husband of Annie, served 10 months of his prison sentence with release from the Union County Prison Camp on March 1st, 1968. All charges in the murder of his wife were dropped. While a popular conception of Martin's motive was that he was just after young women, in-person interviews and discussions with his mother, Martin himself said that he had a split personality, and that was including a violent personality that took control of him once in a while. Like that movie,
Split.
There you go.
Yeah.
But not to say that that's not scary, but it's a run-of-the-mill true crime story. This is kind of where I think it's a little scary. So fast forward to 2009. We have someone named Patrick Tracy Burris, who is an American spree killer. Do you know the difference between a serial killer and a spree killer?
Serial killers have a motive? Is that it? Or am I making that up?
You're making it up.
Okay.
We all kind of know what a serial killer is. You have to kill multiple people, and I don't remember if there's actually a number, but you kill multiple people. A spree killer can kill multiple people, but it's in like one connected event. It can be over a long time, but it's like there's no break in between victims. Mm-hmm. It's like, which Halloween was it when Michael Myers just went through the neighborhood and started fucking people up?
I have no clue.
It's like that. But anyways, so this also took place in Gaffney. Over a span of 6 days, he shot and killed 5 people. His final known victim died of her injuries in the hospital July 4th, 2009. This is pretty recent. Well, not really. I forget what year we're in. That's what happens when you get past a certain age.
What year is it?
2025.
Wow.
2009 was
16 years ago.
16 years ago. But anyways, on July 6, 2009, police shot and killed Burris during a shootout in Dallas, North Carolina. His gun was matched by ballistics to test bullets, and it was the gun used on the murders. So all the victims were basically shot. This is also the infuriating part. He was known as a repeat offender. At the time of his death, he had a criminal record running more than 25 pages in length and had served an 8-year sentence in jail and was released in 2009 also. Deputy Director of the South Carolina State Law Enforcement Division said Burris was unpredictable. He was scary. He was weird. So when that happened, it triggered a lot of like PTSD for older people that were alive when the 1968 murders happened. And it's just strange that like a small town, city, suburb, whatever, would kind of experience two of those things happening. The internet did cite him as a copycat killer, but I didn't find anything in my research that backed that up. So I didn't really mention it because it seemed like he was just an unwell person killing people. But yeah, and it kind of, talking about it, it's not as scary as like ghosts or demons or whatever, but it's considering this is like ingrained in reality, it's kind of scary. And then also to know that an individual could be alive when people were getting murdered and strangled to death in 1968. And then, what is that? 68 to 2008 is 50 years later? 50 years later, start seeing in the news that someone's going and killing multiple people. Like, that shit's fucked up. It's fucked up to happen one time, but to happen multiple times, it kind of messes with your head. And it kind of reminded me of, even though we're not doing this city, but it reminded me of like Texarkana, where the town that dreaded sundown happened. Do you know what that is?
What'd you say?
Texarkana. Have you seen the movie The Town That Dreaded Sundown?
No.
About the killer who was killing people, and it's a true story. Maybe we'll review that for tea. But anyways, so that concludes Gaffney, South Carolina. And I just realized, well, because I don't know if I said this, but when they did the shootout between Burris and the police, it was in Dallas, but Dallas, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So if
you
I said
Dallas, no, you said North Carolina.
Okay, good, because I remember reading that being like,
I was like, you're Dallas, North Carolina. I'm in a suburb of Dallas.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa. And we both did something that like we haven't done yet. Like you did a true crime. I did like a cult.
Yeah.
Wow, look at us. Growth.
Growing.
Change.
I know. Change the fools. Anyways, so yeah, that's our creepy little stories for today. And in regards to cryptids, I didn't want to choose one because looking at the book that I've been looking at for cryptids, there's so many giant
it's
animals. So I'm going to tell you all the giant animal cryptids there are. Are you ready?
Like giant this, giant that, giant octopus.
To me, this sounds redundant, but the first one we're going with is giant anaconda.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Come on, J-Lo. Giant forest hog.
Me.
Giant monkey.
Oh, I got a flying pig tattoo.
Everyone look at Wes's new flying pig tattoo.
Don't look too close because it's healing.
Show it so I can zoom in later.
No, it looks ugly because it's healing. Keep going.
Giant octopus, which actually I don't know when this book was made, but giant octopus I believe has been confirmed to be a thing. A giant panda.
It's just a panda. Pandas are just fat.
A giant salamander, which have you seen the what is it, Japanese or Chinese giant salamanders that are like this big?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Those are huge. Giant sloth, giant turtle, and that's it.
And then goblins.
Yeah. So and then goblins. But yeah. So those are the cryptids of the day, the giant family. But that brings us to our 20-minute episode. So thank you guys for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. And till then, have fun. And I forget what I say.
Graveyard out, bitches.
Graveyard out, bitches.